Hello, it's Tanya here from Coffee Catch-Up's team. Now, before this episode begins, I just want to tell you that it is about money. I know. Oh, that big subject. Now, we do talk about what the Bible says about money, and we look at what our biblical attitudes to money should be. Now, having said that, we know that finances and money are an ever-present problem with our cost of living crisis and many people across the world facing financial difficulty. So, if that is you, we have attached several links to people who can help you and support you in that situation, whether it is you need some debt advice or financial planning. So wherever you get your podcasts, check out the description of this episode below, and there are several links there for you. But in the meantime, enjoy this episode. Hey guys, and welcome to Coffee Catch-Ups podcast with me, Tanya Wiley.
And me, Amelia Beaumont.
Coffee Catch-Ups is a Christian podcast all about life in your 20s. And just a disclaimer before we begin, we are not teachers or theologians. We're just two people who love Jesus and are trying to live for him. Okay, so today we're talking about the rather tricky subject that a lot of time I feel like we stray away from talking about in church and in life sometimes. But it's a huge subject, a subject that affects us all, that is mentioned so many times in the Bible. And that subject is money.
Yes.
Now, Amelia, you had an interesting fact that you learned recently about just the amount of times money is referenced in the Bible.
Yeah, I think I was listening to a sermon from, it was either Rich Wilkerson or his wife, Dawn Cherie Wilkerson, from VU Church in Miami. Recommend their sermons. They're on Spotify. They're really, really great. And one of them was saying that there are about 2,000 or more verses in the Bible that talk about money.
Wow.
Which is insane. And actually, Jesus talks about money more than he talks about heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Which is mad because, you know, when you go through the Gospels and stuff, you're not thinking like, I'm learning about money necessarily. And yeah, I couldn't believe that it was more than he talked about heaven and hell.
Why do you think it is mentioned as much as it is, Amelia? What are your pearls of wisdom on that?
So, I mean, again, this is another thing that I got from the sermon. I was just like mind blown. They were saying that actually, like, one of the reasons for this is that money vies for our attention so much more than almost anything else in the world. Like, so much of our lives revolve around money. The food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, like, you know, the houses that we live in, the bills that we have to pay is so much to do with money. And then also you've got so much stuff being advertised, like, you know, your life will be better if you have this, and what have you got to do? You've got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like what they were saying in the sermon, like one of the reasons that Jesus uses money as a comparison when he's talking about you know, you can't serve two masters, has either got to be God, and you can't serve both God and money. Is that money is one of the biggest things, or if not the biggest thing, that is vying for our attention and can distract us from God.
Timothy, for example, 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. And what we see scattered throughout the Bible is loads of warnings going, look, money can be a source of lots of different issues, because whether you've got loads or whether you've got none, you can obsess about it. If you've got loads of money, it's weird. It you know, you would think, and I think some of us look up to people who have a lot of money, the entrepreneurs, the people with loads of money, and you think, gosh, how can you be okay with having that much money, and why do you not just give a load of it away? But I think there's something in human nature that enjoys the continual getting and receiving of money, the
Mm.
stacking up of look how much is in my account, even if you can't even spend that much. There are people on this earth
Yeah,
who earn so much they cannot, even if they wanted to, they could not spend all of it.
I
Like
know.
that is bizarre. But equally, and so they're obsessed with money, getting more money. But equally, when you don't have any money, it occupies a lot of your thoughts and going, I need money because I need to live.
Yeah,
And one of the fascinating things they say when budgeting is that, um, when you earn more, so if you for example, you get a promotion and you go up a pay grade and suddenly you've got a lot more money than you would normally have to spend, suddenly you start spending it, you start living in that means, and therefore you're like, well, I need more and I need to get further. And so what we see, I think, in the Bible is Jesus going, hold on, guys,
mm,
there's danger here, and it gives us some ways, advice, warnings, and ways to tackle that.
yeah, absolutely. And we want to preface this discussion with, we know that we are not incredibly poor people. Like, neither of us earn ridiculous amounts of money, but
Yeah,
actually, we just want to preface this by saying that we know that we are in a privileged position of both
yeah,
having income, and homes to live in and food every day, and like our material needs are met. So we want to preface this with, like, we are very aware of that privilege, and we don't want this to just be
yeah,
two like single white girls just complaining about money,
yeah,
which is not
absolutely.
what we're intending to do.
No. What I would just add to that as well is like all of our podcasts, we've by no means got the answers to this. We say, I think pretty much on every record that we do, is that like we're preaching to ourselves here, because I think
Mm,
all of us, no matter where you fall in terms of economic situation, there's something here in the Bible for everyone as
mm,
regards this, whether it be you need provision or you're seeing it, money is becoming an idol. Jesus has so much life and hope. And ultimately, our treasures are in heaven. And that verse in Matthew 6 says, do not lay up yourself treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be too. And,
mm.
and as Christians, that we want our heart to be in heaven. And I think that's what is at the heart of this chat and this discussion. Is that's where we all, regardless of situation, should be aiming for our hearts to be. And how do we go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're saying, money can become an idol for all of us.
Mhm.
Like, I've struggled with this all the time.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, I think again, Instagram has a lot to do with this, and that is entirely on me. But like, when you just see those like the videos of someone like dressing their house for Christmas,
Yeah.
and their house is like amazing. They've got so many rooms. They've got like lovely, huge spaces with loads of natural light coming in. They've got a pool out the back, and they're just dressing their house for Christmas. And basically, it's something that you should be aspiring to do. And then I find myself going, oh, I wish I had a house like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had that many classy Christmas decorations. And not not the neon pink tinsel that my housemate decided to put up this year. Um,
Neon pink.
just these incredibly beautiful, and then they lay the table and it's amazing
Yeah.
and it looks wonderful because they've got all these very kind of expensive crystal glasses and like all of that kind of stuff, which like usually I don't really care about. Like, I don't care if I have amazing crystal glasses, but watching these videos makes me want them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Well, there's a lot to be said for that. It's again linked with like coveting what other people have.
mm,
When I was talking about storing up your treasures in heaven, that verse from Matthew, um, it can be it's very easily said, isn't it? But ultimately, when we're alive, we're living in the world. And there's no getting away from the harsh reality of you need to pay your bills, pay your rent or your mortgage or whatever. You need to live.
Mm,
And we live in a capitalist society where you need to earn money in order to do that. And because we live in that world, um, when we see other people having things that we really like, we absolutely can fall into the coveting. Well, I know that in order to have that lifestyle, I need to earn money. Um,
mm,
and you can say to yourself, and I think one of the things you can say to yourself, I'm not idolizing money. I just want this and so therefore I'm going to work really hard. And
mm,
money can be a really sneaky one because you go, no, 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 I need it. I need money. Um,
mm,
and all I'm doing, I'm working because I need money in order to live. And I think it can sometimes sneak in, but you're still saying, I just need it to live. And actually, it's becoming an idol. Um,
mm,
I sometimes notice that with myself. I'm self-employed. And when you're self-employed, you end up doing a lot of your financial stuff yourself. So you have to be more aware of it. So you do your own taxes and you keep, in general, a really good look, or I do anyway, a good look on my finances coming in so that I can survive and I can spread where the money's going, depending on what month I've got more work, what month I've got less work. It's a logistical thing and it's a necessary thing. And there's no getting
mm,
away from that. It's necessary. But as a result of that, I'm writing down how much I'm getting each month. I'm seeing it coming in. And I notice in my brain going, oh, I like it when it goes up, adding it all together at the end of and going with the
mm,
total for this. And then I do this thing where I just put into my calculator, oh, what if I earned that each month? I would earn this overall. And why am I doing that?
mm,
Why am I doing that? Because that's not the case. That isn't financial management. That's just me going, oh, what if this?
yeah.
That's allowing the idolization of money and what money can buy you.
Mm,
That's not actually serving me. But yeah, good financial management is serving me. The taking it slightly further, and it's sneaky and you don't necessarily always feel it coming. It just sneaks in.
so true. So true. And I think, we want to say there's absolutely nothing wrong with having like ambitions for a certain kind of life. But it's when those ambitions are paired with, like you're saying, like the oh, but I need this amount of money to live this
Mhm.
kind of life. Like there's a difference between the two. But what I was thinking as you were saying that is actually like, what kind of lifestyle do we want to aspire to
Yeah.
as Christians? And actually, like, okay, having a nice house, having a nice car, those are nice things. Like,
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with that. And I know many Christians who have really nice houses and really nice cars, and
Yeah.
that's fine. That's great because God's provided that for them. But like, actually, as Christians, what kind of lifestyle do we want to aspire to? We want to aspire to the kind of lifestyle that is like Jesus. You want the kind of lifestyle that you show compassion to people,
Yeah.
that you show love to people, that you are generous with what you have, whether that's little or like loads. Um, you want to be hospitable to people. You want to honor people. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's the kind of lifestyle that as Christians we should be aspiring to. It doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you have an amazing home and it's Instagram worthy and it's just beautiful natural light and you have a pool and you have this and you have that. Like nice things.
Mm.
But actually, by the time we get to our deathbeds, none of that is going to matter.
Yeah. You
And
can't take it with
it's
you.
such a, exactly, it's such a like common saying and it's really cheesy, but it's like you really can't take it with you.
You
And I
can't.
think that's exactly what that verse means that you were referencing, like store up your treasures in heaven. Because actually, like if you live your life, just even if you are a Christian and you're like, yes, I love Jesus, come on, let's go all out for Jesus, but money is still an idol in your life,
Mm.
that's going to cause you problems. And I think it's really easy to not remember a lot of the time that this is a temporary situation.
Yeah.
Earth is a temporary thing. We are temporary things in our human bodies. Um, but you know, to not sound super spiritual, our souls are eternal.
Mm.
Like, this goes on. forever. And actually choosing to spend eternity with Jesus um, is the most important decision ever.
Mm.
And you've really got to, literally, like the verse says, store up those treasures in heaven, be in love with Jesus,
Mhm.
and live the lifestyle that he calls us to live. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't matter whether or not you have money at
Amen.
the end of the day.
And absolutely, I want to jump on the back of that. Such a good point. Is that uh, if you do have, lots of money that God has blessed you with, I mean, let's remember where everything comes from, guys. Um, there's nothing wrong in and of itself in that. It's all about the heart. God's only ever interested in your heart, and he's not going, oh well, you've got over this amount, so therefore, sorry, that's just too much. He's going, what's in your heart? And if
Mm,
like your point about actually we should be living for Jesus and emulating that lifestyle is okay if you've got lots of money. We talked about it at the end of the Christmas podcast that we did, of why are you not inviting people over for Christmas if you've got loads to
mm,
go around, that are the people who are lonely. So if you have a lot of something, and we'll talk about this more on an episode probably in the future about giving, but if you've got lots, give lots in whatever that is that you've got lots of. But also, to tag on to that, um, we need to remember as people of faith, one, that we can't take it with us, but two, who your provider is. And therefore, you know, when we take pride and idolatry in money, we forget who made it, uh,
mm,
and who provides for us, and we forget that, which is easily done when you're thinking about the hustle and bustle of life. But in remembering who gives us our gifts, our provision, we come into a place of humility where idol falls away. When you go, I'm humble, the idols fall. And when you go, God is my king and Jesus is my provider, you know, the idols fall away, and money is
mm,
just money. Um, it's just a means to food and drink and whatever. Um, the real trust and faith is in that no matter the situation, whether I have lots or little, my provision for all things comes from the Lord.
mm,
And I want to be a kind of person, and I'm so often fall short, that no matter what happens in my money life, I have confidence in where things come from, in the Lord's provision, that I do not waver even for a moment. That is what I
mm,
aspire to be. And so often I fall short, but I hold hope in that
mm.
fact.
Yeah, I absolutely, everything you just said. Amen, sister. Mic drop. So good. So good. And I think that's the really important thing, isn't it? Because actually, like, the fact is that, as we said before, neither of us earn huge amounts. And like you said, for you, your income is sporadic because of the nature of your work. And that's it. And for me, like, I work for a charity. I also work part-time. I don't work full-time. And so the earnings are not massive. Um, and there have been points where seriously, seriously have had to trust in the Lord. And, the nature of things like running a car on a part-time wage. And like, my car had some like quite big issues in like the autumn time, and the MOT was mega expensive. And then it also had advisories and stuff that were quite kind of like relatively urgent to fix. Um, and I'm going, oh Lord, like I can't do this. Like I physically can't afford it.
Mm.
And the Lord came through in like just some really unexpected ways. Um, and it was such a great reminder that actually, he cares. He cares about provision. Like, this is the God who made the cosmos,
Mm.
like the universe, the stars and the planets, and is in charge of absolutely everything. And he still cares that I needed money to get through my MOT.
Yeah.
And it was a really good reminder that actually, like, he's not absent. Because I think so much of the time when we're waiting on provision, um, it can feel like you've been forgotten, and that's not true.
Yeah.
What I try to remind myself um, a lot of the time when I'm in these situations and it feels really dire is actually, do you know what? I'm going to go to bed tonight. The sun is going to come up tomorrow morning, and I'm still going to be alive. I'm still going to be breathing. I'm still going to have a roof over my head. Um, and again, I know that it's not as simple for a lot of people to feel that way, but actually, like
Mm.
when the sun comes up tomorrow morning, you're still going to be here.
Yeah, and there are different sorts of riches, and we forget that sometimes when we're focused on one that we don't have.
Mm,
Like, there's it's a cliche, counting your blessings,
mm,
but it is helpful, because it reminds us just how much you have been given. Um, and I have this continual, you mentioned it earlier. I'm self-employed, and I'm an actor, and the nature of that job is fundamentally unstable. You,
mm,
I am going from job to job. Sometimes my jobs can be just one day, sometimes they can be a few months. And so I find this is a continual problem for me, is giving up to God and allowing him to come in and provide, and having that faith that he will do so is
mm.
so difficult when it's you want him to provide like this, and you've got
Yeah.
this idea that this is how I want it and this is what I want, and actually getting very frustrated. Sometimes I get so frustrated when I didn't get that audition, but I really wanted it. And why,
Mm,
God, where have you gone? Have you forsaken me? I have got no work. And there was a period last year where I was really low because I kept getting rejection after rejection after rejection for auditions. I had no work, and I was worried, very worried about where, like at some point, I'm going to need to eat. I'm
mm.
worried. And the worry can be really consuming.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful verse in Matthew 6, or verses that really were a source of comfort for me, uh, in that time, and in also in learning from that time, because I admit I worried too much and I didn't
Mm,
give to God enough. And that's on me. And it would have been so much better if I'd really reflected on this verse a bit more before, until I then started reflecting on it after I got my next job. I remember I was just always like, I haven't got any work. And then I got the job and I was like, oh, of course I did. Because who was I to forget all the times that God has
mm.
provided for me before? When did I forget that he's the king of the world, and
Yeah.
that if he wants, he will provide? When did I forget that all the times he provided for me before,
Mm,
and I took it in myself and in my own hands, and I chose to consume myself with
mm.
worry and low mood about this lack of provision. I put my identity
Yeah.
in my job. I forgot the gifts I have come from God. The money I have comes from God, and those jobs, they come from God. When did I
Mm,
forget that he's provided for me in the past?
yeah.
Anyway, this verse is from Matthew 6. It's starting at 26. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's beautiful. Let's enjoy. It says, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one day of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith?
Oh,
And
amazing.
I love that verse, because one, it goes, hey, I provide for everyone. Why
Mm,
do you think you're the exception? that I don't
Yeah.
provide for.
So
Or,
true.
or
So true.
the thing is, it may not be how you want to be provided for, but it is also provision.
Yeah. I think there's an easy thing of like, God, I know because you're God, and you kind of you end up like almost trying to, I don't know what the word is, not like manipulate, but like just have a bit of a go. You're like, Lord, I know that you are capable of putting $1 million in
Mhm.
my dollars. I'm not American. £1 million in my bank right now. I know you're capable of that, so why don't you do it? And do you know what? There was a time, I think I've definitely told you this story. So I was so blessed to have a holiday to Croatia last year. So I went on this really great trip, and I was staying in a hostel, and I booked a trip to the Plitvice Lakes, which I've always wanted to see. It's been like 10 years on my bucket list before I managed to go last year, and it was great. So I'd set my alarm for like 6, quarter past. I was up at 5:30 because I was stressed that I wasn't going to wake up on time. And the I was on the top bunk, and the bed was almost completely sealed off around the sides. There's no way really you can drop anything down the side. And but there was one gap. And did my phone at 5:30 in the morning drop down this one teeny tiny gap? Yes, it did. I was I was panicking. I was like sat on this bunk again, super early in the morning. I can't really ask anyone for help. And I'm like, oh Lord, like what do I do? I was like, my boarding pass for getting home is on that phone. My ticket to I was going to go to Split the next day. Obviously it's my phone. Like there's a lot of important stuff
Yeah.
there anyway. There's loads of photos that I'd taken. All of this stuff I can't communicate with my parents. Like, bearing in mind I was there by myself. Obviously it's important that I was checking with my parents so they knew I was safe. And like all of this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I have never prayed harder for something to teleport into my hand. I was like, Lord, I know you can do this. I know you can do this. I need you to teleport my phone into my hand. And the other thing, regardless of any of that other stuff, was that the alarm was set for 6:15. So I knew that in 45 minutes, in the middle of a 6-bed dorm, my phone was going to go off and I had no way of switching it off. So I'm like dying. I
Race is
was like,
on.
literally, I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, come on, come on, come on, you can do it, you can do it. And I like came down from my bunk. Obviously, I'm trying to be really quiet, and I was like seeing because there's like drawers under the bed, and so I was like pulling it out and seeing if my phone had like dropped to the floor that I could go in under and reach it. And then and like the bunk under me, there was no way it could have gotten to that. But I even was like so tempted to obviously like pull the curtain aside and say to this poor person, I'm so sorry, has my phone dropped onto your bed? She woke up anyway. She was not happy. I was trying to be really quiet, but I think it was my hyperventilating that probably woke her up. Um, and and that was it. And I couldn't get it back. And the alarm went off. And I was like so apologetic to everybody in the dorm. I was like, I am so sorry. There is nothing I can do about this. It is stuck. So I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna have to calm myself down. So I got myself ready. I went down to reception and I said to the lady, I was like, this is ridiculous, but I have dropped my phone down this gap. I am going to Plitvice today and I need it back. I was like, I'm really sorry. I don't know what you can do about this. And do you know what? This is where the Lord's provision came in
Mhm.
because she was so lovely. She was so calm. And she was like, that's absolutely fine. She was like, do not worry. She said that by the end of the day, she was like, go to Plitvice, go have a lovely day. Come back, we will have your phone for you.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, oh, but like, how am I going to get? Because we had to meet at this booking office, and if you've been to Zadar, you'll know that the old town is like a bit of a labyrinth. Like, there's loads of teeny little cobble streets, and I was like, I have no way of getting to this booking office because I was going to use Google Maps.
Yeah.
And she said, what's the name of it? And I gave her the name of the office of the tour company, and she was like, I can I can sort that for you. And she drew me a map. She literally drew me a map, and I found it, and I went. And again, I had my camera with me, so I was able to get photos. And by the time I came back to the hostel, they had my phone for me.
Uh,
And you know what, this lady literally was like, do you need to contact anybody? And I was like, oh, like, I'm here solo. I need to contact my parents just to say that like I'm okay, I'm safe. They're not going to hear from me today until I get my phone back. And she gave me her personal phone so that I could ring my parents. do you know what? Of all the ways the Lord could have come through,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
better than telekinesis.
yeah, literally, like he could have picked my phone up and transported it into my hands, and it would have been absolutely fine. But there was a huge opportunity there to trust him,
Yeah.
and I actually I didn't in a lot of ways. I was like, well, if you don't pick it up and drop it into my hands, what am I going to do? Like,
Yeah.
that's it. But actually, there was a huge opportunity there to trust him and be like, all right, Lord, this has happened. I know that this is not going to ruin this holiday, which was a gift from him. And actually, it is going to be okay because you've said that the righteous are never forsaken.
One of the things I think surrounding a lot of stuff with money is worry. And
Mm,
like, even so, you quoted earlier the no one can serve two masters, which again is Matthew 6. Read Matthew
mm.
6, guys. Just on this
Oh,
subject
so good.
matter. Love Matthew 6. And then it's then followed in the Bible by therefore I tell you. So it literally goes, you cannot serve both God and money. And then there's in the NIV, there's a header which had just been inputted. They're not in the original Bible. The next sentence is, therefore I tell you, do not worry. So
Mm,
there's some really practical advice here from Jesus. And it's like, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body and whatever. And then it goes on to that verse that I read out earlier. Will he not provide so much more for you, you of little faith? And I love this verse because I remember when I was struggling the most in my life with worry and mental health, this verse was saying exactly what psychologists were saying, just in different words. In this passage is telling you about what the world today would call hypothetical and practical worry. The end of this section says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of itself. You've got some incredibly practical advice from Jesus here saying,
mm,
look, when it comes to things like provision, in whatever capacity that is, including money, don't worry about tomorrow because that's got enough trouble of its own. Worry about today. And what he's doing is he's going, can you fix it now? Then do. Can you not? Can you not fix it today? Then have faith.
mm,
For me, it's helpful when it comes to money because there is a certain amount that God asks you to do. He asks you to work
mm.
hard. You know, we would be being bad stewards if we just sat here and went, okay, God, you provide, I'm going to do nothing. That's not what he asks us to do. He does ask
Mm.
us to work hard.
Yeah,
But
so true.
that worry causes us to obsess and starts money to become this idol, and starts us to forget who our provider is and where everything comes from. A lot of that is in worry and allows fear to come in. And there's so much fear connected to provision and money. I don't know about you, Amelia, but we mentioned right at the start of this podcast that both of us are in a situation where in a couple of months we are not employed potentially.
Mm.
We don't know that. It's the limbo
Yeah.
of not knowing. And that can provide, if you do not give it to Jesus, fear to seep in. That worry leads to fear. And then you start doing things in your own strength. You forget to give it to God, and it's a spiral. So that is why I love this verse, because the birds in the air, they have food. God provides for
Mm.
them. He will also provide for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of, I'm in a position where it's just, like you say, the limbo can be infuriating
Mm,
because you don't know what's going to happen. But
yes.
actually, throughout all of this, throughout not knowing whether I'm going to have a job at the end of March, and like I love my current job so much, and it's so hard to be like, but will the next thing, will I love the next thing as much? Like if I can't stay in this job, will I? I won't have enjoyment because I
Mm,
love this one so much. I don't want to lose this one. Um, and actually going, he has never failed me yet.
never.
Like not once has God not come through. And there's that great verse as well. I'll find the reference later, but where Jesus is talking about like which one of you, if your child asked for bread, would give them a stone. Um, like, how much more does your Father in heaven give good gifts to his children?
Yeah.
Um, and that absolutely extends to provision and money. Like, God is so
Yeah.
good. He has not forgotten about you. He knows all of it, and he is so capable of providing, and he will. There's
Yeah.
no question mark
Yeah.
over that. Um, Again,
Mm.
like there's that beautiful. I'm assuming it comes from a verse, but I just love the song "Jireh" by Elevation and Maverick City. He starts singing. He's like, "I've never seen the righteous forsaken, and he won't start now." And they just sing it over and over again. And I'm like, "Yes, come on!" Like it's so true. Not once has he forsaken you, and
Yeah.
he's not about to start.
Amen. And I love that. What a fantastic way to come to draw to the end of this podcast of being like, actually, he has never failed you. He will not fail you. His plans might not be the same as yours, but they are always good plans. They are better than yours.
Mm.
He is absolutely our provider. But I will potentially end on a little challenge for yourself, Amelia, for me, for anyone listening. I'm going to pose you a little challenge. Because sometimes we absolutely see how he blesses us. But I think, and when you were talking then, another song came to mind of that. I think it's the bridge in a classic song, Waymaker,
Mm.
which is even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I can't feel it, you are working. And I just want to challenge myself really to notice more the times when he's working and the times when he's worked in the past that I've not noticed, that I've just assumed were down to good luck or me being in the right place at the right time or me working hard, and actually paying and challenging to try and find those moments in the big and the small where you haven't yet acknowledged how God has provided in your life. So homework time.
Love it. So good. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
I think I'd rather be too cold because you can put on layers. Whereas when you get too hot, you can't take off layers of skin. But having said that, you can jump.
What a lovely image.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for that. That
Oh,
was beautiful. Wow.
wow. Oh, I don't
Anyway,
know. I really hate being cold though. I really hate being cold. I am going to go for I'd rather be too cold because I can put a duvet on or I can go into heated.
okay. Yeah.
Um, and because in this country, in England, and I live in London a lot of the time, um, we're just not built for the heat. We don't have aircon installed in places, so
No, that is
it
very true.
becomes very, very difficult to be hot. So yeah.
I am a summer girly, so I don't know. Probably gonna say too cold as well, probably for the same reasons that you said. But also, yeah, I do quite like, being in hot countries with,
I think we can say we've agreed on that, but tentatively. Would you rather have a mullet for a year or be bald for 6 months?
oh,
I've gone
yeah.
for a vain question.
I mean, I say this with a lot of respect for people who have mullets. I detest them. I think they're awful. Um, Again, if you have a mullet, I do not mean any disrespect because that's your choice, and I'm sure you look great. But I can't. Oh no, I think I'd have to go bald. And
Interesting.
because also you can put on like wigs and hats and stuff if you're bald, but like a mullet, you're just kind of stuck with. Do you know what I mean? The thought of a mullet, just like no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't deal with it at all.
I'm trying to imagine you with a mullet. I bet there's an app or like an AI thing somewhere that you can put a picture of your face in and get a hairstyles to see what you look like. I'm gonna find this and I'm gonna put your
Yeah,
face in. I just want to see what you look like with a mullet, and I'll do the
I
same for
think.
me. Do you know what? I would go bald as well.
Mm,
I just don't think I could pull off a mullet. And being bold has a sort of empowerment to it that I think
Yeah, for sure. I
is
think we could
like,
definitely like spread some feminist like messages with
yeah.
by being bold.
And also I think, if I did make that decision, I think I would give my hair to like the Little Princess Trust.
Yes. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Coffee Catch-Up's podcast. We absolutely love doing this and we hope that you love listening to it. Do send us any feedback that you have. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you just want to say hi as well, that would be lovely. So if you want to contact us, we are coffeecatchupspodcast@gmail.com or Coffee Catch-Ups Podcast on Facebook, coffee_catch-ups on Instagram and TikTok. And we're on the radio. Who knew? That's crazy, right? Mental.
Crazy.
So if you would like to listen to Coffee Catch-Ups Espresso, you can find out more at crossrhythms.co.uk/Plymouth. All the episodes will also be on our podcast feed.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Coffee Catch-Ups, all about money. Just a quick reminder that if you are struggling with your financial situation, do not struggle alone. You are not alone, and there are plenty of people out there who can help you plan your finances and make the best of this situation. So in light of this, we have attached links to several fantastic organizations that can provide you with debt advice or financial planning advice. Please do not struggle alone. The links are in the description below.